Hey guys, Banana Luck here. Welcome back to another Watcher Realms video. Today we're gonna be talking about another banner that Destin has predicted that will come. So yeah, this video was recorded last weekend, and yeah, hopefully my predictions are right. So we talked about the Praetor's Uridan banner already, but now we're gonna talk about the normal summons banner that's coming to the game this weekend. And that's gonna be the Arrogance Talula banner, which people have been talking about even before the big patch hit back in September. And we're gonna run through these two heroes kits and see whether they make sense. But from the get-go, I'm just gonna say that Arrogance is an amazing unit in the Nightmare faction, and there's really no one that can do what he does in the game at the moment. So yeah, let's talk about Arrogance first. So let me just pop over to the gallery so that things are clearer here. So Arrogance is a range fighter who can hit both air and melee. Not many of those units we have going on. And his base stats, pretty average stuff, 5.2k base attack, fairly okay HP, and attack interval is actually lower than average. And yeah, this guy also has the same Zillitu range, don't be mistaken by this one because he's unpromoted here. And then Talon, Demon Bolt, inflicts burning on the target. This is his range form. And then Demon Blades in normal stance, which is his melee form, 30% chance to increase the hero's attack speed by 40, stacks up to 3 times for 10 seconds, which gives him 120 attack speed increase. And then first passive, physical attack, deals 100% damage with Demon Blades to one enemy within 1 tile. If they are none in range, deals single target damage with Demon Bow to enemies. And yeah, basically if there's no units within the 1 tile range, he just hits range instead, which makes a lot of sense. And that also changes the way that his damage works, because you can see right in his talent, in melee it's gonna do that attack speed increase thing, in range is gonna do burning, and we'll talk more about the implications of this later. First passive, for every one enemy killed while in Berserker stance, that's his ultimate, receives 1 attack speed bonus stack from the talent, and when the stance ends, deals 80% AoE damage up to 10 adjacent enemies 2 times, and this multiplier goes up to 180. So yeah, it's nothing crazy, it's just some extra damage, and also just some extra attack speed for him. But the crazy passive is the second one. Demon Bow and Demon Boomerang. 50% chance to attack 2 targets for the bow. And that means that if he's in range form, there's a chance that he can hit 2 units at the same time. And this becomes even more crazy when he does his ultimate. So right now it's just 2 normal strikes, but in his ultimate, the same can apply. So we'll talk about it later. Demon Blades, 15% chance for double strikes. This is why he's amazing for Samurai. As long as you place him in the right format, you want him to be in melee form. And the chances of this taking place is scaling up to 25%. And then his last passive, which is his Bond skill, which makes him amazing. Obtain last to obtain the following bonus effect. Increases attack by 15% during the effects of his ultimate. So his ultimate, hero enters Berserker stance, dealing 260% damage with each attack launch and increases its attack range to a 4x3 tile range. And when attacking any distant targets, the hero's weapon transforms into a Demon Boomerang, which is the range form, and it does AoE damage equal to 20% of the damage taken by the main target. And additionally, he inflicts burning on all enemies damage whenever he does, that range form thing. Take note that this does not apply if it's in melee form. He's not going to do burning in melee unless he has his exclusive artifact. So this damage goes up to 360%, the AoE damage goes up to 30, and the skill cost goes to 750, which is pretty low, lower than average. So yeah, all in all, you can see why his kit works so well. When it comes to anti-air, I was running Arrogance for quite a bit actually, because that double attack on his second passive is actually nuts. when he does his ultimate. The only problem is that the ultimate was auto, so timings could screw things up for us. But enough of his base kit, let's talk about his awakenings. In a nutshell, A1 is correct, everything else is great. So A1 basically gives him some self-sustain. I have seen it being helpful sometimes in GVG, but besides that, it's really not going to be a game changer anywhere else. A2 extra crit damage, always nice. A3 deals 15% extra damage to targets with burning. This is when having his exclusive comes in handy, because the only way for him to deal burning in melee form is to actually have his exclusive, which we'll take a look later as well, and that gives him 15% extra damage. A4 extra rage regen on each attack, which is amazing given he has a lot of attack speed inbuilt in his kit. And then A5, when entering his ultimate, immediately receives the maximum attack speed, which is the 120 extra attack speed, and then first 5 attacks in Berserker stance deals 100% extra damage. So just flat out, increasing his damage by a mile. And yeah, like I said, A1 is the only bad one. Anything else from A2 to A5, that's all going to be amazing. And the best part of all this is that Arrogance actually has his soulstone in the Dwarven Association shop, and I've purchased 2 soulstones on him. First one I sold Orum and Zealous, and I think the second one I sold was it Asshole and a couple of Zealouses again. So I have him at A5. He's amazing. He doesn't have crazy BP, but he does crazy amount of damage. And I have his exclusive at level 3 here. Increases damage dealt to targets inflicted with burning by 24%, and during the effects of Hellfire, which is his ultimate, attacking nearby enemies, which is his melee attack, will also inflict burning on them for 5 seconds, which is why I said the only way for him to, do well in single target stuff like Guild Boss is that you need his exclusive so that he does burning as well, and his A3 will actually be of some help. Other than that, the next best alternative for him is honestly Realm Tear. If not, you're going to have to stick to Frigid Flame for content where he's not going to actually take damage. And yeah, that's enough on Arrogance. He's great in many places, especially in Samura. He's my MVP there. In this best run that I did in Samura, which had Arrogance, Silas, and Eova, all 3 of them topped out at 600 million damage each, which is crazy. Yeah, so that's Arrogance. Now we're going to talk about Talula. She's not in the game at the moment, as you can see, so gonna have to rely on the screenshots from Destin's server to take a look at her kit here. So there we go. And I'm just gonna max it out across the screen so that we can see everything. So first of all, talent. When deployed, summons 3 butterflies around the heroes, each granting 1 stack of butterfly wards, and when the butterfly lands on an ally, it grants Forest Spirit to them and converts 50% of the hero's attack speed to healing effect. And first of all, before we even jump through the talent, is that she's a legendary healer. We don't have that much in the game, and she's also a healer, piercer, which means that you can see that the current attack range that she has is the vortex range. I think with the piercer buff, it's gonna become like a, I don't know, 4x5 range, like fully at the sides. That's my guess. I don't think the immediate rerolls are gonna extend any further, but I could be wrong. We'll probably need someone to actually test it out to see that. HP 11k, attack 4.6, nothing crazy. And onto his first skill kit, that's the heal. Sends 1 butterfly to 1 ally in range, which means that she doesn't actually does the heal herself. It's done by the butterflies, and if the hero isn't carrying a butterfly, continuously enhances an ally carrying Forest Spirit instead, and increasing the healing of Forest Spirit by 50%. So yeah, I do think that so what happens is that if the hero doesn't have the butterfly, it becomes So he will cast the Forest Spirit, which is the healing bit of her kit. And yeah, I think that's it. I don't think there's differences in that, but we could be wrong later on. First passive, Forest Spirit also grants the carrier physical damage reduction and magical damage reduction. We don't have the kit here as to what it looks like. And then restore 6 or 10% rage per second. So looks pretty cracked from here. I don't think it could be 10% rage, so that's crazy. I think it's 6 or 10 rage, maybe depending on the skill up. And then second passive, during Enchanted Ritual, which is probably her ultimate, Forest Spirit has a 100% chance to dispel one debuff from each ally in range every 2 seconds, which makes her budget Eloin here. And before we jump into the ultimate, I just noticed that we have all her passive down below. So Butterfly Wards every 2 seconds, restores HP based on the carrier's mixed HP and the caster's attack. And healing is proportionate to the number of stacks, cannot be dispelled. And then Forest Spirit every 2 seconds, restores HP on the carrier's and the caster's attack for at least 10 seconds. So my guess is Butterfly Wards is when she does it, when she has it on herself. When she deploys it, it becomes Forest Spirit. And that's why there's the time limit on the Forest Spirits. And after 10 seconds, if the carrier restores the full HP, Butterfly will fly to another wounded ally within 1 tile or return to the caster. And carrier cannot attract more butterflies. So only 1 each and it cannot be dispelled. And then the physical and magic damage reduction, that goes up to 30% when it's maxed out. So pretty complex kit, but let's move on to our ultimate. So it's a manual ultimate, 15-second uptime, and the rage cap goes down to 800, pretty okay. Channels a ritual and instantly sends 1 butterfly to each of up to 3 allies in range. So it's random. And during the ritual, all the healing effects, rage regen, and damage reduction from Forest Spirit also applies to allies adjacent to the carrier. So it sounds like in theory, it's gonna make all the extra stuff like the damage reduction, the rage regen, it's gonna carry forward to everyone in the range. But yeah, I don't think it's that reliable, given that, you know, there's RNG involved depending on who it lands on. Like, look at that crazy range. What if it lands on all 3 targets on the left? It means that the targets on the right are not going to get any of that. So I think that's the struggle that I had with Talula. She has an interesting kit, something that we haven't seen in the game for a while, which people have been calling for. Why is Eloin the only rage regen healer? We finally have one that does everything that Eloin does but better. But I feel that there's a bit too much RNG involved as to where the Butterfly Wards or the Forest Spirit lands on instead. So yeah, that's my gripe with her. But Awakenings, when the Butterfly lands or leaves an ally restores 10% HP, pretty average. A2 healing effect plus 8. And then A3, Woodland's Blessing rage regen per second increases by an extra 1%. So that's the second passive, the first passive that we talk about, which I still don't think is 6 or 10% rage. I think it's 6 or 10 rage. That makes a lot more sense. So this will just straight up increase it to 7 or 11 instead. Then rage regen auto for A4. And when the butterfly returns to the hero, restores 50 rage. So we'll need to see more testing to see if she's actually great. For one, I would think that she's going to be great for Piercer team. If I can just remove the image here, I am currently keen on running a Piercer team in GVG. And yeah, Lily is here for the damage reduction, the unyielding that she does. I'm curious to see if Talula actually changes that and, you know, allows Brokir to actually survive with the damage reduction in place. Because if we place things right, we can essentially make it such that, you know, Brukia is bound to actually get the damage reduction. So yeah, I think that's the struggle to see whether Talula is actually useful, because beyond that, I don't think she's gonna be amazing for Samra. She has Dispel in her kit, she has damage reduction, but my struggle is the RNG that's involved, whether it's gonna land on the right units, and having to deal with the RNG in Samra is just gonna be so annoying, because of how crucial getting your units to survive through all the way is. And yeah, that's gonna be it for the video. It's probably gonna be a good banner to summon on if, let's say, you don't have Arrogance and Talula. You definitely don't have Talula. If you don't have Arrogance, I think it's worthwhile to actually try for him, especially if you guys have just received Torador from the recent Lord Picker. Then it's an even no-brainer to go for, because it's gonna unlock so many teams for you. It's gonna get that 50k blood in, you know, Nightmare 4 and Guild Boss 1. Also gonna be one of the higher damage dealers in Samra as well. And also unlocks a team for you in GVG once you have Hatsut, Arrogance, and Torador together on the same team. So yeah, that's gonna be it for the video. I hope you found that helpful. If you did, feel free to leave a like or subscribe to the channel. And yeah, that's gonna be it for the video. Good luck on your summons if you're doing any. Leave any questions if you have any down below. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.